So today I attended another Scientific and Medical Network webinar. This one, a book briefing, a new book coming out on synchronicity. It's called The Playful Universe. And it's actually a 2-day event. Today was day 1, and this is a joint webinar with the Galileo Commission. They do a few of these a year. And today, synchronicity, this word that if you know, you know, and if you don't, you're like, what is this mumbo jumbo magic stuff y'all are talking about? It's not real, it's just coincidence. Well, I'm not here to convince you, those people, of this in this video, or to tell my life story and how, but what I want to get to is, not only were there stories that were shared that were absolutely beautiful, had me at some point clapping and like crying tears because just so empathetic for the stories involving the loss of loved ones and receiving undeniable clear signs from them somehow in this world. But there were not only stories, but also some very well articulated scientific explanations for how this might be happening. For instance, Professor Richard Tarnas from the California Institute of Integral Studies and quite a few other very notable, very brilliant individuals presenting, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow as well with others. Point is, I just want to stay on track because I can rant. I can go off and on and on and off. There is a point with these coincidences that seem very meaningful. When you start experiencing them, they feel beautiful. And at some point you feel like high. You feel so in love, enraptured, connected to everything. You're like, yeah, this is it. But is it? It's very strange what I just experienced. I need another one, and then I need another one. I myself did this. Moses did this. Many of the people presenting today did this in their recollection, that it seems real, but how can we be sure? Because we do care about science. We do care about not just personal bias, delusion, all these sorts of things. We need to know, we need to have proof. I grew up very scientifically minded. I did gravitate a bit toward the mystical, to the unseen, to the magical. I think a lot of that was playing video games, fantasy, a lot of wizardry and these sorts of things. So yeah, maybe that primed me or what have you. But I still have my stories of the last 2 to 3 years of kind of shit testing the universe, which some people say, oh, you shouldn't do that, like just faith, just trust. Well, here's the thing on that: the truth fears no investigation. If there is a God, and there seems to be, I can't describe him, I can't describe the character, how it all works, but there is certainly, I say this with certainty, we can talk about it. Probably need to write a book on it because it's a lot, because I want to articulate it well. But there is something that seems to be orchestrating events in our lives. The ancient Greeks, etc., believe this. Chinese people, cultures all over the world, very spiritual, very connected. Not only is the planet alive and other living beings are conscious, but there seems to be a oneness. There seems to be a supreme. There are different ways that it is described and the mechanics and these sorts of things, and I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about meaningful synchronicities, these coincidences that are just too impossible. And when you have enough of them, you reach a threshold. There is a threshold where you're finally like, okay, yes, there is a profound beauty, intelligence, something that even seems to care for us, or at least responds to our prayers. Our deepest wishes, our prayers, they get answered in very indirect and surprising ways, but they do. Sometimes instantaneous, sometimes very quickly, sometimes it takes a while. And that depends on a number of factors. Your openness, how aligned and congruent your wish, your desire is, compared to where you currently are, mentally, physically, etc. But there is a threshold that so many of us have crossed. We're like, yes, God works in mysterious ways. Can't describe it very well. Can't describe it in a way that just will make you make sense if you're someone who doesn't believe in God at all, and that you believe the world is bleak, material, that we're just brains on sticks walking around, that consciousness comes from the brain, not that our brain is receiving our consciousness, that our soul is temporarily housed in this body, and when we die, our soul does go somewhere else. And our soul does seem to be, like, holds on to our personality, and maybe it's a temporary thing. There's ideas it's 3 days, 40 days, 2 years. I don't know, I'm not here to debate mechanics. I'm here to say that there are very brilliant people all around the world, all coming together in our profound personal experiences. And due to the nature of it, when you hear enough of other people's stories, you're like, okay, this goes beyond creative story writing and just simple anecdote. That plural of anecdote is not data. Yeah, in some cases it is. It is. And yeah, there's a lot of terrible things going on in the world right now. As much as we love a good story, a good movie, and that has violence and tragedy and comedy in it, so too does the universe, God, the thing that animates us to create, as above, so below. Whatever we're doing here, down here, is just a reflection, a microcosm of the macro. We're all living stories. We seem to be, as Idea, aka Michael Larson, or vice versa, puts it. You realize you're the writer, the director, the actor, and the audience at the exact same time. Now, these thoughts can be very confusing, could send people into a sort of schizo panic sometimes in the right conditions, especially if you're doing a lot of drugs. Hey, I'd say on that, just very quick, deserves a whole video. Drugs are medicine to get you to the point where you don't need them anymore. Don't rely on them. Don't stay on them. So yeah, there's enough thoughts. Day one of this book briefing. I want to do more of these. I've been wanting to do these for years. We're gonna get started now, talking about SMN, the Scientific and Medical Network, Galileo Commission, New Paradigm Navigators, the IONS, lots of organizations that are attempting to do very rigorous, scientific-based approach to understanding spirituality, spiritual science, as they say, the workings, the mechanics of the unseen world. And maybe this is territory we never will quite pin down materially, because it's not meant to be, but maybe. And there's a lot of really good data there. I'm convinced, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's real. So I'm happy to discuss this more. I'm gonna make a lot more of these videos. I got blog posts to write, probably got a couple books to write. But anyway, be well.